Well, welcome back to the National Hockey Centre here in Glasgow as we move on to game 2 of the day. And well, it is officially titled a promotion relegation playoff, but it is actually a relegation playoff with Dundee Wanderers 7th in National League 1 up against Uddingston 9th in NL1. It was a dramatic Saturday of semi-final action with Watsonians from the second tier bouncing back up into the top division in a shootout win over Dundee Wanderers. So definitely two teams are up, so that must mean one is going to come down from the top tier with Inverleith already gone. Who is it going to be between these two? And it may well be a feisty old encounter. Alongside myself, Carl Patterson, is Chris Duncan, the Edinburgh University player, Scotland under-16 boys head coach as well. Among other things, former internationalist, has played for Scotland too. Chris, great to have you with us as we get underway. This should be a really exciting game.
Yeah, afternoon, Callum. Thanks very much for having me. Extremely exciting game. Two teams who will try to play very, very different brands and styles of hockey. Be interested to see how they match up in the first few minutes.
Yeah, Dundee in the red, Uddingston with the ball in the white tops. Loughlin trying to cause early pressure. I think just before we came there, he was one or two of the key players you're picking out. Can you pick out a player or two from either side?
Yeah, definitely. I think games like this, we always say it's the experienced players that are going to win you these games, but actually there's some really exciting young talent on the pitch. Andrew Loughlin, one of the ones we just saw on the ball there, Scotland under-18 international, exciting young player, very calm, very level-headed, will go forward but will also know when to slow the game down and make good decisions. You know, he is only a 16-year-old, so in reality the Uddingston team is going to be very much built on the ability of Stephen Percy and the experience of him in midfield and Jackie Tran in the backline. Conversely, on the Wanderers side, two exceptional players, Elliott and Fergus Sanderson. They're the two we need to look for the entire game. Bobby Ralph, we just see going into press now, will make himself busy up front, but the two Sandersons are match winners for Wanderers.
Ardell was trying to get forward the side on white, trying to get themselves towards that final third. Loughlin was there, as is Percy the captain. All the way back it comes with Paul Council. Twisting the turn, but a little defensive stick which helps things out. Amit Hafez was there, but turnover.
First opportunity here to see Wanderers building up with the ball. We've seen them in a defensive setting, sitting off quite deep and allowing Uddingston to build up.
That's cool, picking out Kennedy Gibb, but Percy takes just an unfortunate little slip. Suffering with greasy, they haven't watered it naturally. There was some rain first thing this morning, but the sun's starting to peek through now in the south side of Glasgow.
I think a good sign from Uddingston with Stephen Percy trying to take that free hit quickly and attack at every opportunity. There's going to need goals to win this game today. I don't see this game being tight affair. I see there being goals in this, so it's really nice and pleasing to see Percy with that ambition early on.
Rolling across here for Sanderson. Sanderson looking to try and carry on, was looking for the advantage, gets the free hit. Flying into the circle, it bounces around. Ends that move, but lively from both sides. That was a bit of an air swipe which hit off the leg there, so immediately turned over despite Elliott Sanderson's work to get the ball back.
I think you'll get used to seeing a lot of mistakes from the Wanderers side, Callum, and not because they're a poor side, but because of the style they try to play. Very direct. They will look to go forward at every opportunity. They'll try and go the route to goal as fast as possible, as we've just seen there from Sanderson. Yeah, indeed, and Cameron was lurking in the centre for the Wanderers. Lobbed up it goes up the other end here for Uddingston. Balled up for Hughes. Good pace, good strength.
Turns. Is it going to get Nick on the way through, but the arm out the other direction, arm in the air for Percy, but only briefly as the umpire intervenes.
Brilliant run from Brad Hughes along the baseline. You see the strength and the power he had and the way that he carried the ball, and he is going to be a real nuisance for that Wanderers backline.
Some minor shockwaves up in Dundee with the 7th place side, who you guess would be the favourites to secure the safety on the Saturday, but drew 2-2 with Watsonians, 2nd place in NL2, and it went to that shootout with the 4-3 win. So it was a big surprise, maybe not a big surprise, but certainly a bit of a shock. Let's have a look at this move again.
I think it's the beauty of the format, Callum. The 2nd place side in Division 2 has to play the 7th place side in Division 1, and you would say that definitely gives the advantage to the higher place side. But the beauty of what is essentially now a cup game and a cup final for that Watsonian side yesterday shows that it can happen, and it's really nice to see that they've won. Tough for Wanderers to come back today and have to compose themselves, ready to play in a really tough game.
Well, the arms out there from the umpire, so it will be a penalty corner, first one we'll see of the game.
Been a lively first 5 minutes here, Callum. Both sides looking to play attacking hockey, definitely showing intent to go forward and score goals at every opportunity.
So heading across then at the injection point, Francis Mulgrew. Let's go in the centre of circle. Maybe I'll trap for the two that are behind, but we'll see what happens. It's a different route, in fact, and then doesn't really come out with anything of substance.
That's fantastic number running from Paul Council of Uddingston there. Really good pressure on the ball, didn't allow the flicker to get his flick away.
Yeah, Sean Downey with the one with the attempted effort, still with the side in red. Going back to the playoff point, I know we mentioned it a bit in the first game, but it's slightly unique. Usually when you see playoffs in other sports, it's usually 2 or 3 sides from the level below involved and one side at the bottom of the top level, but you're not really safe. And you're outside the top 6. Is the chance here as the Wanderers not very safe as the ball came up, and good play from Carroll for Uddingston, but back it comes. Here is Carroll again, looking to pick out Percy. Now trying to go the long way round. So many red bodies back, it looks very congested.
What an outstanding ball from Jackie Tran there. 65 metres to young Ben Carroll inside the circle.
It's two sides playing to stay in the league. He may well have been forgiven them for a really tense start, but both on the front foot. Cancelling the thick of the action there, conceding the free hit.
Been really impressed with Uddingston in the opening 8 minutes here. Very, very dedicated to the defence, not giving Wanderers any time on the ball to become comfortable in possession. And then they've looked really good and quick on the break. The more we see this guy Hughes on the ball, the more danger that'll occur. Yeah, it's a great ball through here. Percy, Hughes is going to get it back, and it's a terrific goal. The opening goal, and Uddingston take the lead with just over 9 gone. That is a brilliant pass from Stephen Percy. Exceptional level of calmness at the edge of the circle. But this goal is made by Hughes before he finishes it. That is a brilliant, powerful run through the middle of the pitch before showing the calmness and the composure to slot it away past the goalkeeper. And as you called it, probably deserved from the early play. Uddingston have had the better of it. think it'll be interesting here to see what happens next. It's very, very hard after you conceded a goal here as Dundee Wanderers to just try and get their composure back. We see straight from the restart they've played the ball off the side of the pitch and brought pressure back onto themselves. It'll be really important. The Sanderson brothers, Captain Elliott in the middle there, get on top of their team and make sure that they can climb their way back in. There's a long, long way left.
Trying having to watch out, and Kenzie dispossessed. There's Cameron Bell. Borland looking for the loft. Trying again up, looking for Percy, but off the number, Cole gets there first.
I think a lot of people will be surprised to see Uddingston in this playoff. In reality, in the league...
Or here comes Ralph, though. First chance for the side in red, but keeper comes out, Craig Wallace.
Brilliant double save from Wallace. Came out, made himself big. Back on the point about Uddingston. This is a team who only 2 weeks ago drew 3-3 with Kelburn to deny them that 15th league title. You know, there is quality in these ranks. They are a very able side.
Oh, here's the equaliser, thought. And well, they had a half a chance a moment ago, and they have capitalised this time. The long pass through and the sweeping finish.
Really alert thinking from Bobby Ralph inside the circle there. Sees the ball fall and calmly smashes that ball into the side of the net. We mentioned how important it would be for Uddingston to get themselves grounded back in the game again, having gone 1-0 down, and that is the perfect reward for them.
Ralph is a bit of a talismanic figure for them. And the equaliser, right with nothing really, a couple of little moments and they've scored. Ralph getting it. It is 1-1 here. He got one of the goals yesterday in that game, which ended up in defeat in the shootout. Hughes trying to carry on.
Just looking down at the team sheets and the benches here, the speed of this game is going to start to take its toll on both sides as it goes on. But Dundee Wanderers, with only 2 outfield subs on their bench, that may count against them in the last 10 minutes or so of this game.
Council often looking for Hughes. Intervention from Francis Mulgrew. Well, Uddingston, it was fairly even with Hillhead yesterday, but there was a red card in the mix when they ended 5-1 to Hillhead, so they secured their safety.
Brilliant pressure from that man Sanderson. Off he goes on a really winding run.
Yeah, like Sanderson stopped his track by Hamish Robertson. Wriggled by Fergus Sanderson now. Cameron's touch, but back with side and white Uddingston. Took the lead, but not for long.
Spoke about the key players on both sides before the games, and we're getting what we expected from them, but just want to highlight young number 73 Ben Carroll for Uddingston. Every time he's got on the ball, he has made really, really good decisions. Very impressive from a young lad at only 16.
Walker ball through Haves and a little shove, and it's going to be a penalty corner. The umpires had a quick chat between them, John McKenzie and Alistair Monroe, but with pretty cynical little barge out the way. Early doors, 40 minutes in for those sort of challenges Quick chat going on there before getting set attacking wise. Bradley Hughes to the umpire.
Frustrating corner for Dundee Wanderers to give away. I'm not sure he needed to make the challenge. There's men in behind. I know the guy's getting the run towards the circle. Unnecessary challenge at this early stage of the game.
Paul Council to inject first penalty corner that Uddingston have had. Comes towards Hughes and rattles it in. Number 2 for him, number 2 for Uddingston, and they are back in front. What a start in the first 40 minutes.
Great power from Hughes, just firing the ball low towards that bottom right corner.
So 3 goals in just over 40 minutes, not a bad start to this game. So very much the opposite of what you might expect from this tense game. One side will be relegated. Demi just running out of road for Dundee Wanderers.
Interesting hearing Kevin Farnan, the Dundee Wanderers coach there, telling his players to press the ball. They've sat quite deep in the early stages of the game and let Uddingston have possession with a lot of comfort. But what you now see is them being a little bit more aggressive with their pressing. May give them a chance to win the ball, but it's also creating gaps in behind for Uddingston, like they've done here.
Yeah, Hughes once more causing problems, but this time ball is turned over. But rather impressive start from him, out with just the 2 goals. I don't want to tempt fate because it's 2-1 already and we've still got plenty of the game left, but last month it was a 4-4 draw between these two, so plenty of the same entertainment would be lovely, but just to flip it on its head, it was 1-0 to Dundee Wanderers away back in October in the 2 meetings in the regular season. Let's hope it's near the latter kind of score line. It'd be quite good for the neutral. Here's Lochran trying to get going just a touch too quickly, for the liking of the umpires. Through it comes here, and Hughes with the control, just been taken out wide, just trying to keep his balance. That could have been devastating if he got it the first time to spin and take an effort and goal.
I think just going back to your comment about the scores, what we've seen over the last week, both the Scottish Cup finals and today, is really good adverts for the sport. Lots of goals, lots of teams trying to attack. It's been great to have these televised, great to see people watching these online. Hopefully we have more of the same.
Yes, well, the first game this morning was a steady but engrossing game, which really got exciting as the second half went on. Last week, I think at least 6 or 7 of the games out of 8 had a lot of tension and excitement for most of the way through, so there was some good stuff last week. That is Mulgrew coming away with it for the Wanderers.
There's a lot of space for Wanderers on their right-hand side. They're not seeming to use it. A really good opportunity to attack the wide areas for them, which they've just not managed to find yet because they're trying to play so direct.
Turn away from Elliot Sanderson with the captain's armband on.
I think to be fair to Uddingston, they've done a fantastic job on Elliot Sanderson so far. Every time he's carried the ball into wide areas and never towards the danger area of the circle, and you've got to give Uddingston their due at managing to keep him quiet.
That's one back and stolen now. Up it comes towards Hughes. Percy in the centre area, if it got that far, didn't quite. Some last-ditch defending going on. Fergus Sanson trying to hit it away. Does get the relief of the right from the umpire.
Brilliant skills and strength under pressure there on his 25 from Fergus Sanson, getting the ball in the air and bulldozing his way through to win a really, really good foul for his team.
Confusion between the two players in red, which has unfortunately seen a change of ball possession. Hughes was marshalled out well by Ewan Borland.
I think Wanderers are really struggling to get the ball going forward. We can see that every time they look forward, Uddingston's marking is excellent, but there needs to be a bit more dynamism from the midfield and from the forward line of Dundee Wanderers to get available, to get that ball forward. They need to score a goal here before half-time, and it'd be really, really confidence-boosting if they do, but right now it's too difficult for them to go forward.
Lobbed over with intent to find Sean Dowie. Didn't really look like it was ever going to come down quick enough for him to control. If you have joined us rather late, well, you missed an exciting start with 2 goals from Bradley Hughes inside the first 15 minutes, sandwich with Bobby Ralph's equaliser. Apart from that equaliser, they've really not threatened at all here. The Wanderers and chasing the game again. Careful wasn't back 5, so yeah, take 2, but doesn't end in anything bar going by the baseline.
It's an excellent match-up in midfield and one to definitely watch with Elliot Sanderson and Jackie Tran. Both seem to be marking each other. I'm not sure if that's a concerted game plan from either side, but it's going to be really interesting to see how that develops. Tran, for me, has absolutely marshalled and dominated the game for Uddingston in this opening 20 minutes. He's looked calm on the ball, he's kept possession at all times, but he's also provided such a forward-thinking impetus.
Bounced up for Elliot Sanderson. Support wide there. Here he is once more, and good link up down that channel. A couple waiting, including Ralph in the heart of the D, but didn't reach him anywhere near reach him. Pace just calmed down a little bit from the frenetic first 15.
Brilliant pressure from Hughes once again.
And here he is through, hat-trick time. Oh, and the keeper comes sliding out there. And the umpires say it's fair and square. It was Borland who gave it away.
That's a touch and go one for me up here. I think Hughes had done phenomenal work to win that ball and go towards the goal. The interpretation of the rule is if the goalie goes down and does not win the ball but takes the player, then that would be a penalty stroke, but umpires have obviously decided that it was a fair win. But it just shows the chances on the break they're going to come here for Uddingston.
Yeah, they've scythed through that defence where Wanderers have struggled to really break down the Uddingston defence at the other end. Tran this time, and here he is again. Hughes dancing around, but high this time. He has been such a player over the first 20 minutes or so.
He's so strong on the ball. He's not doing anything too incredible in terms of his stick skills, but the way he uses his body, he blocks so well from the defender to create space for himself to get shots away. You know, that one not quite connecting there, but it just shows the danger of this guy inside the circle. I'd like to see a bit more from Fergus Sanderson. Relatively quiet compared to brother Elliot. This guy is someone who can carry the ball over really long distances. You know, every time that we see him play in the league, he gets the ball in the air, he carries through hordes of defenders. It's really nice to see him start to make a mark on this game in the closing 10 minutes of the first half.
Space for Loughran. Carroll.
Once again, Carroll, excellent under pressure, defying his years there in the corner in terms of his composure.
And towards the final 10 minutes of the half here. Uddingston with the 2-1 lead. Could be a little bit more actually with one or two other chances they've had. Wanderers, the only chance they've had has been the goal which they took, but haven't really threatened since. Carroll trying to come in and win that one back. Both help each other back to the feet with Kennedy Gibb.
That's more of what we want to see from Fergus Sanderson, getting himself on the ball when the game breaks down and carrying the ball forward with real pace. Lovely aerial over the top there to Bobby Ralph. More of that needed from Dundee Wanderers.
That's flicked by Dowie, and it comes, and it saved Ralph around. Needs some help, and just scraped away for now. But again, a bit like when they scored, they really threatened nothing, and then one moment and they were causing all sorts of problems. Come to head just in the D there with Council getting it back. First card of the contest, and it is the captain for the Wanderers heading away off for a couple of minutes. Elliot Sanderson, I'm probably not too happy.
Interesting to see how Uddingston use their extra man here. Will they adapt their playing style and try and move the ball around to open up the gaps that will noticeably become available due to Elliot Sanderson's card? Or will they just keep playing the same way?
Hughes once again finding some support. Carroll around. And arm out another direction. Here a big clatter in the sticks. Players from both sides trying to win the ball. Percy trying to sneak it off Matt's goal. The two number 15s have been pretty close most of the encounter so far.
Interesting to watch the left and right back of Dundee Wanderers. In modern day hockey, the left and right back are such attacking weapons in terms of how they go forward and how they support the midfield. What we've seen a lot in the opening 25 minutes here from Dundee Wanderers, their left and right back will sit deep. It'd be really nice to see if they would step one of those players up, try and add them to the attack and try and create an overload in midfield.
Carroll. Della with support, and Robson. Ralph getting in the way, but only briefly stops things. Good skills. I'm not happy this time with the umpire, but it is a Uddingston free hit, and Council looking to hammer. Percy trying to make a mess of himself. Move comes to an end.
It's something that's really paved the way for Uddingston's good performance so far. They've been really, really physical and determined when they go into defend, and you can see how much pressure they are putting on that Dundee Wanderers backline. The amount of times they've turned the ball over and created counter-attack.
Wanderers back up to the full complement as Sanderson, Elliot Sanderson getting involved, looking to get it back here from Dowie. Does looking to try and re-find Dowie, who's continuing his run, but there's 3, 4, 5 Uddingston players back there. Give though, back with Elliot Sanderson. Half-Edge was coming in to disrupt things. In the women's playoff at 10 AM this morning, the side who were looking to preserve their place, Grange, stayed in the top flight. Now Uddingston looking to do the same. Parried away by the keeper from Hughes. Connor Downs, it's the player in goal. Did enough there. No one to follow up.
Great strength from Bobby Ralph to hold off the tackle there. Just not having a passing option available to him as soon as he collected the ball.
Council to Robson. Spinning away from the danger, might be just a touch too long, is it for Hughes? He's going to keep it in, not quite. Try his best. There's going to be a call back and a green card. So just as soon as we went back to 11, they're straight back down to 10 again here, the Wanderers.
Interesting to watch the rotation of the Uddingston forward line. Hughes and Carroll have played massive minutes in this first half. Not sure Hughes has even been off the pitch. That is going to really contribute as the game goes on, especially with a team like Wanderers, as we mentioned earlier, only have 2 subs. Surely be looking to keep your forward line fresh so you could really hit that Wanderers back line while they're fatiguing later in the game.
Well, it's the other Sanderson on the sidelines, Fergus, so not as many cards as they'll probably get at Christmas. They've both got together on the sidelines within a few minutes of each other. Here's Hughes through, and he's through here for a hat-trick, and all his own work. He's had a brilliant half, his sides of the brilliant half. He's got all 3 of them. 3-1 Uddingston.
There's me saying that the forward line's looking tired and played a lot of minutes, but Hughes looking fresh on his feet. Brilliant strength to cut across the defender and smash the ball into that bottom right corner, giving the goalkeeper no chance. 3-1 Uddingston. Really important for Dundee Wanderers. They do not concede. Do not concede here before half time.
Another green card being flung, so we're 10 against 10 now. So we kind of expected there could be a taste of the game, and now the cards are starting to come. As Tran is off now. So 10 against 10 for a little while. Oh, there wasn't an awful big gap between the bottom half, really, of the table. And particularly between these two, it'd be a bit of a surprise. The 7th place team going down as they come forward again here to the other stint. That move comes in. Good play there from Mehmet Hafez.
That's a brilliant low challenge inside the circle. It's really nice to see a defender getting their knuckles down on the floor, being brave, making themselves long and big to win the ball off Hafez.
Robson for Loughran. Council. Sitting there and dictating where the ball's going to go next. Hafez. Ball pinched by Mulgrew. Bale back to Elliot Sanderson. Wanderers have 11 against 10 for the next few seconds. Bell trying to keep hold.
Brilliant work back in defence from young Cameron Bell from Dundee Wanderers here, going shoulder to shoulder and showing great strength despite his youth.
Two Sandersons trying to link up. Back it comes with Bell. Elliot Sanderson wriggles into the circle. Will he carry on? He juggles! And the keeper gets the smothering save in there. Still around about that end, but Sanderson all his own work there himself, almost getting the second goal for his side and pulling one back.
That's phenomenal skill from Sanderson. In a scenario where in reality he had no opportunity to go forward, he finds some space out of nowhere and is really unfortunate with that shot not to slide it past the goalkeeper. I think we have to give credit to Craig Wallace in goal there. He's twice today in this first half made himself big and made it really tough to beat.
Here's John Joe Lavin at the other end, coming together. Final minute, 3-1 it is to Uddingston here. I know the scoreboard on the screen says 2-1, but trust me, it is 3. Long ball here. Can they make it 3-2 with Fergus Sanderson picking up? Council coming across to take it. Frustration from Ferguson, from Sanderson. Here's Elliot Sanderson. Comes away now with Percy. Space through the middle here for Lavin. Just going to be a little too long. Keeper kicks it, but not the most convincing as it comes straight into the path of the attack. Final 20 seconds here. We're smash and grab fourth. Carroll back with Tran. Lofted and high. Took a deflection off a defensive stick. Could have went anywhere that.
It's happened a lot in this first half here. Wanderers with really good field possession and a good opportunity to attack going forward, but needlessly turn the ball over and give that thunderous counter-attack from Uddingston another opportunity to go.
There is the half-time hooter and 3 goals in that first period from Bradley Hughes, and a terrific performance from Uddingston. One of these sides will go down in 35 minutes time. At the moment Uddingston look like they're going to preserve their place. 9th place side over 7th place Dundee Wanderers. They did have their chance, which probably Ralph took, but it's about the only chance they've had in this first period. Dundee Wanderers 1, Uddingston 3. And before we take a pause for half time, we will look through the action from the first half, the goals from the first half, and certainly has been a little bit of the Bradley Hughes show, certainly linked up particularly well with the opener with Stephen Percy. And here's a look at the goals.
Bradley Hughes, an Australian import from Uddingston, and it's just showing his worth here. That's what these guys are brought in for, when it counts and when it's the big games, making the difference, and that's what he has done so far. I think it's a big half-time team talk here for Kevin Farnan in Dundee Wanderers' changing room. It was extremely interesting to watch them walk off the pitch. Uddingston very together as a team, extremely happy, enthusiastic. Dundee Wanderers looking beaten. And it's going to be really important for Farnan to remind his players that there's still 35 minutes left in this game. There is a long, long way to go. And that next goal is going to be absolutely pivotal. If that goes Uddingston's way and makes this 4-1, that is a mountain to climb for Wanderers. But if they can come out and grab a goal early to get this game tight again, then it's all to play for.
OK, we will take a pause then, as we've had a thrilling first half here at the break. Dundee Wanderers 1, Uddingston 3. Welcome back then for the second half of this relegation playoff. Dundee Wanderers and Uddingston with a very impressive first half. What of quality we were talking off air half time, Chris, that there is quite a lot of international players in the Anderson team, with that blend of Scottish players, and it is a club growing in the youth side as well. So I guess staying in the top flight, again, important for both sides, for them, and looking to try and build on being a top team club as they have been doing, and building for next year with the growing academy as well as this blend of talented international players.
I think the gulf between the first division and the second division is really big. The top couple of teams in the second division can compete with the guys in the first division, but going down is a really difficult year to keep your team together and keep your club moving forward. And as we mentioned for Livingston, the importance for them of continually developing with all the money they've invested over the last few years is really critical. What's been really impressive to see, despite that number of international players, they have played as a real team here. It's evident that they're all together, they're all kind of working towards the same goal, and it's been really impressive. And that's something that Wanderers need to learn from in the second half. They need to come together, they need to play as a team rather than relying on the brilliance of the Sanderson brothers.
Here's Lonnie McKelville. Gurney was down in that corner too here. For the support was Tran. I know again at half-time you were talking about the brilliance of Hughes in terms of scoring goals, but Tran was probably the player you picked out in that first period, just sort of a quiet engine, just making sure things are ticking along.
I think everyone always looks at the goal scorer, looks at the guys that do the brilliant things in front of goal, but Tran, for me, his positioning has been absolutely immaculate the entire game. He has made good decisions on the ball. He has not been turned over in that tight area in front of his back four. He really has kept his side ticking, and it'll be really important that we see that again in the second half. We mentioned his battle against Sanderson, and again, if he wins that in this second half, you've got to think that Uddingston keep hold of this lead.
There's a red ball which Ralph took quickly. Not too many players around in the same colour to help out now. Percy comes away with it in the centre.
We know the importance of this next goal.
Tran through here, and Hughes was lurking once more. Lavin was around too.
That's exactly what I was going to say. We know the importance of this next goal, and we know that if Wanderers can get it, it's well and truly game on. But in doing so, they need to be patient and purposeful about the way they're going about it. If they throw all of their numbers and their bodies forward, they're going to give chances for Uddingston, like we just saw there with Hughes on the break, and they must make sure they don't allow that.
Rooney Cameron went down in the park there, the Wanderers player. Back up to his feet now. Put in context the tight bottom half of NL1, you had your side, Chris, in 6th place, escaping the playoffs, 17 points. You had Dundee Wanderers also in 17 points, but with goal difference and like. We're in the playoffs, and Hillhead had 16, Uddingston 15, and really for adrift with 5, so very tight. So there isn't much between 7th and 9th in terms of points, but still in positional terms it'd be a surprise if a team in 7th would go down. And look at this once more from Hughes. Wonderful play, keeper gets in the way. Hughes again, and he scores again. 4 for him.
People are going to look at the finish there from Hughes, but the most brilliant thing about that piece of play is his pick-up on the backhand as the ball initially comes into the circle. That ball is really travelling, and he has nailed it with the first touch. Big mountain to climb for Wanderers now.
It is the perfect start to the second half for Uddingston. The cliched decisive next goal has went their way, and side who are just a few miles down the road from here have got a cushion now, but not unassailable. But the Wanderers are really have to step up here and create some more chances as Ralph tries to get something going. Comes back to the 23 and with the number 23, Kennedy Gibb.
Before the goal, we were speaking there about how tight it is in that bottom half of National League One, and it is really, really tough to kind of differentiate yourself. I mean, Mbune is an example. We were a real draw specialist this year and picked up 8 draws, which is not ideal.
Look at this ball cut through the middle, and surely I was expecting that to ripple in. It's still alive though. with Hafez coming in. The way they escape for now, Uddingston, but just cut open once more was that defence.
But these games against other teams in the bottom half of the table are usually very, very tight. The one thing about Dundee Wanderers, we know they can get on a roll. Despite the fact they're 4-1 down here, if they get one, they are quite good at getting a second very quickly and climbing their way back into games.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting league with the top 4 and the bottom sort of 5 sides in a different league altogether, with ball back in across here. It's kicked away. Back it comes with Tran to try and feed it through. And guess who's at it again? Save from Hughes' shot.
It's crazy marking from Dundee Wanderers there. The second they turn the ball over, they must be thinking of that danger man. They've got to get Oliver Brad Hughes. Every single time Uddingston win the ball and attacking it, they are looking to get the ball on his stick, because everything he is touching is turning to goal today. But in terms of the league situation, to be honest with you, Callum, the top 4 are much better than the guys below. And I know I'm in a team who is slightly below that, but you can tell there is a big gulf between the top 4 and the bottom 6.
Yeah, Clydesdale right in the middle in 5th place, in a bit of no man's land, a few points adrift from the top 4 and a few clear of the bottom half, the rest of the bottom half. So on paper it looks like a pretty dull season, pretty safe in 5th, with nothing to really play for either way. But it's an interesting table of 2 or 3 tables in there.
I think you've seen National 1 change over the last few years, and what we've now seen is the takeover of the youth and the millennials coming through. We've got so many young players who are really dominating for their teams, and Clydesdale is a prime example of that. They have a really good blend of youth and experience, but with that kind of team, they're going to have off days, and they're going to have days where they're absolutely fantastic, and that's probably what's separating them just now, that consistency factor from that top 4.
One back there, Loughran. Robson.
Spoke about Loughran before the game and how important a player he is for Uddingston despite his youth. He's not done anything outstanding today, but he has been so secure on the ball and made limited mistakes in a really crucial position at left back for Uddingston.
Cancels free hit. Hammered in with pace. Twist and a turn there for Hughes on the floor.
You could see Uddingston's game plan there with Shazri. He wins the ball in a deep position, and the first thing he does is looking for that big man Hughes up front.
Percy winning back and finding Carroll. Again, just runs into a body back, or forward I should say, with Bell for Wanderers. Going to be another stoppage briefly and another card possibly. In the right colour.
John McKenda's got deep pockets here, taking his time to get his card out.
And it is a green card being shown.
Not really sure what that's for, Callum. I haven't really seen anything in the build-up play there to see why Ben Carroll's getting a 2-minute rest.
Well, 2 minutes to capitalise if you are a Wanderers player and the supporter watching on. He made the trip west. Fergus Sanderson forward looking for Ralph. Ralph looking to restart as quickly as he can. Ross. Callum Ross, it bounces up off Conon too high.
You'd be looking to see if Wanderers would be a little bit more patient with the ball there. Considering they've got the extra man, there is going to be an overload somewhere on the pitch, and instead of just turning and smashing a hopeful ball into the circle on the backhand, you'd like to see them trying to find that extra man to get the ball into the circle under control.
I talked about Uddingston's development, and certainly splash of international players may well be a risky strategy, especially if they were to go down, but it doesn't look likely at the moment. And I know you mentioned before the start of the second half off air that their side, clearly by the looks of it, probably could be slightly higher up the tail, but maybe have those moments in games where they switch off and perhaps have lost points this season because of that.
It's where you're hoping that the experienced players can really keep a lid on that today. The guys like Laurie McKelvey, Stephen Percy, Hughes, even who's having an outstanding game today, can just make sure that they keep their players under control. They don't have to do anything special in this last 24 minutes now. They just have to make really good decisions and keep it simple.
Well, yellow card, you may well see me thrown out. And first yellow card, so severe whistle was blown. And Francis Mulgrew off for 5, so briefly 10 against 10, but Wanderers now going to have a few minutes with only 10. As Hafez picks up here, dribbles by, and well, waiting in the centre once again was an Uddingston player. This time it was Lavin.
Goal scorer, almost turning provider in Hughes. Brilliantly timed sub by Mick Evans. The second that Dundee Wanderers went down to 10 men, Hughes comes back on the pitch and immediately makes an impact carrying the ball forward. Interesting to see Uddingston's shape in terms of their team shape there. They're going forward, but they're still keeping 3 defenders back and 2 midfielders there to cover, making sure that Wanderers have no chance of beating them on the counter-attack should they lose the ball. A really smart play from the side in the lead here.
Tran for Loughran. Just about keeping it in possession and halfway. Space which has been picked out by Elliot Sanderson. Siding White back to 11. So half the advantage, but there's Ralph for the Wanderers who picks up the space. Just behind and away from Fergus Sanderson. Fergus Sanderson all lofted up for Ralph, but couldn't quite control.
For a team having an extra man, you would want to see Uddingston having more pressure on the ball carrier there. It's far too easy for Elliot Sanderson to play the ball down the line to brother Fergus. But having an extra man, it is so simple just to mark up and make sure there are no easy passes for that team with 10 players. So there's really good patience from Uddingston. They don't have to do anything fantastic. They don't need to chase the game due to the scoreline just now. And although it's not great for the viewers at home to be watching, they've kept the ball really well.
Well, coming up throughout the course of the afternoon, it's the 2 European places for each of the women and the men that has to be decided, place 1 and place 2 in the women's grand final at 2 o'clock. Edinburgh University against Clydesdale Western, repeat of last year's European grand final. And the men's side, Grange against Grove. After Kelburn losing yesterday, the end of their reign as champions and Scottish Cup winners and European hockey, all coming to an end over the last few weeks. You're looking forward to?
Yeah, very much. I think it's exciting for Scottish hockey. Grange in with a chance of winning the treble this afternoon. Mingus Hill, after a massive 5-3 win against Kelburn yesterday, have now qualified for Europe for the first time and will be all guns blazing at a chance to win the grand final this afternoon. Some great players on show. I'm hoping for a really attractive game of hockey that is a really good advert for the sport.
Livingston coming forward again here. One's delivery was pretty much dealt with. Tran, that was not the best. Rare mistake from him in this game, and off was Elliot Sanderson, but stopped in his tracks by Shaz Wright.
Good strength to ride the initial tackle from Sanderson, but he's too weak in the second one and then spends his time turning, running, moaning at the referee. Wanderers need to get their heads in the game. They only have 20 minutes to try and climb this mountain and get this 3-goal deficit turned over. They don't have time to be complaining to referees.
Sanderson to Sanderson, Elliott to Fergus. Back there was Hafez just to stop Percy.
We mentioned at the start of the second half the need for Wanderers to start playing as a team. We see a brilliant aerial over the top and a lovely takedown from Fergus Sanderson, but then he is isolated. He is running the ball on his own. There isn't enough options available for him because his team are not working to give him a simple pass, and that is why they keep giving turnovers. That is why the attack keeps breaking down for them.
Council and then a further pass for Percy. Ben Milson was furthest in front, but only playing wide, but another stopped in another card here. Percy coming across to the umpire.
I can only assume that Percy has said something that John McKenzie is not happy with, because there certainly wasn't anything obvious in the game there to merit a yellow card. Wanderers back to 11 and Uddingston down to 10. Potential game changer here.
It's a crucial 5 minutes now. You're a Wanderers supporter. Need goals, and this is a good time to try and capitalise. Hafez. Turn from Tran. Elway was there, as was Tran once more, just taking it calm.
You can see Dundee Wanderers' tactic being a man up is to leave Bobby Ralph high, not engage him in the defensive aspect and let the other 9 players do that, but to leave him high, available for any chance of a break.
Back on is Hughes. Trying to provide something. Council now. Stick and crucial stick and play on. Pirouette from Bell.
Great strength in the youngster once again. Lovely turn and then trying to get the ball back on his front stick and going forward, but being fouled. Shame not to see them looking for Bobby Ralph. As we just discussed, they've got him up there ready for that counter-attack. You'd want to see them trying to get the ball to him early.
Just under 17 minutes left on the clock here. Council Nixon, but there's a free hit. Can to get back to his feet. Elliot Sanderson. Dancing into the D. Penalty corner signalled.
Haven't seen much of him in this half, but lovely turn and good strength from Elliot Sanderson to win that corner.
There hasn't been too many penalty corners in the game. that Wanderers could do with a goal back now.
No men on the left-hand side here for Dundee Wanderers, illustrating they're going to either pull an option going to the right-hand side or a straight flick off the top.
Cole and Ross behind on this left side of the four that are in the centre. Dancing round Dowie. Press comes in, but space for Cole. And it's off keeper, off post. And to safety for now.
All a bit of a mess there from Dundee Wanderers in terms of the injection and the trap, but they still made it work, and they got a really good opportunity to shoot through Francis Mulgrew from top D. Good save by the goalkeeper to turn the ball onto the post, but those are the chances they need to be taking if they want to get back into this game.
Ralph trying to squeeze possession back with the press. Two Sandersons again linking up. In from the captain, away diverted by McKelvey.
We're seeing the impact of having a ball team around the pitch, and this is something we haven't ever spoken about. But when the ball rolls off the back of the pitch in a normal league game, it takes a bit of time to get the ball back into position to take the long corner in this instance, or the free hit. But what we've seen is the ball getting back in play so quickly. That is going to drain the energy stores. That is going to make people tired, and that's when we start to see mistakes and then chances starting to appear off the back of that.
Hammered in by Dowie, but only found Uddingston player. Clock ticking down on the yellow card for Percy.
It's been very much the Route 1 approach here from Dundee Wanderers, as we see again. Get the ball into space, try and smash and force the ball into the circle. Big space available on the right hand side.
Utilised here, and it goes from Cole. Now there could be danger on the counter-attack as Bradley Hughes is on his way. Partially stopped but carries on, and Percy back on. Will take the long corner off Elliot Sanderson.
He scored 4 goals today, but what a shift he has put in defensively as well. He has put the Wanderers back there under the squeeze, and we see him back there winning the ball deep for his team and then carrying the ball out of pressure to create chances to go forward.
Percy flicking it wide.
Interesting to watch the two coaching styles here, Callum. Kevin Farnan down to our left-hand side, the Dundee Wanderers coach, barking the instructions to his players and trying to position them. Mick Evans, similarly, very quiet, very composed, does a lot of his speaking with his players on the bench rather than getting information onto the pitch. Just interesting to see how both contribute.
Ardilla firing in. Wriggled through and looking for someone else. His team's colours, Percy. Trying to draw players. Quick turnaround off possession. There's Ghani. Hafez. Good pace in that, but went straight to the first defensive player. Quite the lob as intended, nearly taking out the crowd.
we've seen the pace drain out of this game in the last 10 minutes or so. The energy and attack from both sides isn't really there, and the commitment in defence similarly. Wanderers have got to be realising they just have over 10 minutes to try and secure their survival. The energy has to come from somewhere. It'll be interesting to see if at any point, and when they do, take their goalkeeper off to try and create that natural advantage of 11v10 outfield.
Absolute clatter.
Huge challenge.
And Ghani and Dowie, umpire.
Ali Monroe has given a 10-minute yellow card there, and quite fairly. The interpretation of the rule is that if you go to ground as a defensive player and take out an opposition player, whether or not you win the ball, then that is a 10-minute yellow card. Maybe that is the lifeline that Dundee Wanderers needed.
Effectively, by the last 30 seconds, that is a big chunk of time. But Percy here.
3v1.
Council, time and through the legs, and it doesn't matter, they've got a 10-minute yellow card, they've got a 5th goal, and surely safety.
Heartbreaking for Dundee Wanderers. But again, we just see the dynamism of Uddingston on the break. They win the ball, they have 3 men flooding forward. Excellent pass across the face of goal, and then a slamming finish there for Bruce Council.
So you think is that, and 11 against 10 may well be academic, even with goals that can fly in. There's a lot to do, even more now. And they're not finished yet. Here's Percy, the captain looking to get involved, trying to wriggle through for Carroll. Percy looking to get it back. Shazrai. Here he is again. Kelby there.
We could see the Wanderers players in the aftermath of that goal there, remonstrating with referee John McKenzie on the far touchline. It's very easy when emotions are high to start pointing blame at the referee, but I think we need to look at the bigger picture here and realise they've been soundly outplayed so far this afternoon.
So almost a surprise they actually got a goal in this. They're basically about their only chance they've had. Percy drives in and was looking for the touch for Ben Carroll. Great work from the captain.
I mean, as you say, if you think back, there's been almost no pressure on the Uddingston goalkeeper Craig Wallace. He's come out twice and made some good strong saves at the top of his circle, but other than that, this game has been all Uddingston. We're now seeing the use of Hughes as a deep midfielder for Uddingston, sitting in the middle of the park, patrolling things, communicating really well with his forwards. You can see him now off shot, just setting up his backline to make sure everything's working. A real class act this afternoon.
Down the channel, Percy picking up from Shazrai. Well, as it is likely now, Wanderers heading for the second tier again. If you look at the second tier this year with Gordonians going up, they have the same points as Watsonians, so Watsonians winning, more a surprise perhaps. Looking at the gulf between those two and the rest in that league, surely we'll see Wanderers up there as favourites to win the league. We did see Inverleith go down. They were a bit of a drift in the first year, but they'll be back at a level where they'll be winning games. But it could be all between those two to decide who wins the title next year. Depends on players and the like too. But I'm trying to pick up a positive here. Wanderers surely should be thinking, well, they'll relish in winning the title next season.
I think quite often you see two teams go down and they're very much in the hunt for promotion to come back up. The hard thing is after making that promotion, then making your place in Division 1 stick. That is the really tough shift that they now have to try and do. In terms of the second division, we saw Watsonians and Gordonians miles ahead. It's interesting to think that Watsonians lost one game all year, and that would be the last game of the season, to then not win the league on goal difference. So it's perhaps justification that they came up through the playoff system. In terms of a positive for Dundee Wanderers,
here's Sanderson, and well away from Fergus. Sanderson sums up the afternoon.
Yeah, very much few and far between in terms of opportunities to get himself on the ball and impact on the game. The positives Dundee Wanderers, I think the play of young Cammy Bell on the right hand side, he has looked to get on the ball, he has looked busy, and he's made some really good decisions. We highlighted his little pirouette earlier to carry forward and win a foul. That's got to be something they've got to look at in Division 2 in terms of using the youth in the club to try and build something that's sustainable going forward.
Yeah, like Sanderson working hard, and they do have a penalty corner with just over 5 minutes left on the clock here. Maybe it'll just be consolation now, but they'll try and add a second to the scoreboard.
I think I'd feel a bit hard done by if I was in the Uddingston defence right there. It looks like Sanderson's just rode his way through a tackle. I'm not sure if it's that bad that it merits a penalty corner from outside the circle. Most penalty corners in hockey come from fouls inside the circle, but the umpire has the right to give a penalty corner from a foul inside the 25 and outside the circle if they deem that to be of a serious enough offence, and John McKenzie obviously has there.
Looks a similar setup to the penalty corner I had earlier in the half. See if they can execute it better. It was a bit clumsy. Comes across here for Callum Ross. 1 or 2 deflections. And another penalty corner is signalled despite Mulgrew trying to keep it alive.
Dundee is a traditional indoor town, and we see quite an indoor style corner there from Dundee Wanderers. Roll to the left hand side, trying to play it to the back post for a deflection. Unlucky not to get that deflection going on goal, but they've got another opportunity here.
So another chance then, again, same kind of routine. Goes to the same player as first time around. And end of move.
Yeah, tried the same move again, but we saw him University run one of those corners last week, but the ball from the left was delivered in with real pace, making the deflection easier. Wanderers have played that ball in so slowly, it makes it very tough for the man coming to meet it at the back post. Just while we've been commentating the second half here, we've seen both Edinburgh University women and Milncraig Western women both arrive. You must be excited for that game, Callum.
Absolutely, it should be 2 great games, and we're looking forward to the European games. It was pretty one-sided last year when Edinburgh Uni and Western played each other in the playoff final, in the grand final. So hopefully something a bit closer this year.
I'm reliably informed that today is Western coach Derek Forsyth's 60th birthday, so hopefully his team have a birthday treat in store for him.
I was still my line for the start of the next game, so that's that sorted then. Yep, birthday presents and all that. Tran forward, and it's Hughes towards Council. Hughes looking to juggle it back, but illegally said umpire.
That's a lovely reverse stick pass to the baseline from Hughes, just rolling the ball into space and then looking to get ahead into the circle to receive the ball back. I think what we're watching now is a really defeated Dundee Wanderers team. You can see the life has been sucked out of them and the energy has absolutely gone. I've been impressed by how Uddingston have played since they went down a man with just over 10 minutes to go. They haven't adapted their style. They've still tried to keep the ball. They've been really aggressive in the way they've gone forward. Oh, penalty stroke.
Council was in the middle and serious infringement in the circle. 90 seconds left.
Yeah, I think as Council turns, umpire Ali Monroe has just decided that's a deliberate foul on the striker as he's going to shoot on goal.
So to add a sixth on the board, it is the captain, Stephen Percy. Captain's goal, number 6, and the real gloss to the scoreboard and safety.
Yeah, very calm penalty from Stephen Percy, picking his spot and smashing the ball hard into that bottom corner.
And it is going to be the side that finished 9th, albeit, as we've talked about, a real blanket over the bottom half, more or less, of the table, the bottom 4 or 5 sides. And just seen below us to the left, Bobby Rowell, head and hands, he's absolutely gutted. The Wanderers player, the side who were 7th, are going to be relegated here. Cruel for Dundee. Came from Bobby Ralph, and then the Hughes show continued.
I think we saw just about everything from Brad Hughes today. We saw him score from a corner, we saw him create for himself, running the ball from deep, we saw him latching onto things in front of goal. It was a really complete performance from the centre forward.
Yeah, we've seen quite a bit of that celebration throughout the course of the game into the second half, and here he was again, a gritty goal with so many bodies around, but managed to force it through and in. This was a break which was straight after the yellow card given. Didn't matter to them. Another player played pretty well during the course of the game was Council, and then there's the final moment, the glory there, and the 6th goal for Percy. A thrilling game in the end, one-sided, very one-sided to Uddingston. See Stephen Percy getting interviewed down there for our social media channels. Just final thoughts on this one, and you'll be back with us at 4 o'clock for the men's final. Quick thoughts overall.
Just an excellent performance from Uddingston under real pressure in this kind of game. The big players played a really good thing, but again, a great advert for hockey. You know, we saw some really attacking play, we saw some great goals, and it's just the kind of stuff we need to see in this country. Hopefully a recipe for what's to come in the last 2 games of the day.
Well, thanks for now. Chris, we'll hear from you in a little while in the 4 o'clock game. We'll be back at 1:55 though for our third match today. We're into the big ones, the big grand finals. It's the women's grand final next. The top 2 spots in Europe to be decided what order they are in. Emory University against Clydesdale Western. Do join us at 1:55. But the final score here in this playoff: Dundee Wanderers 1, Uddingston 6. Dundee Wanderers relegated to National League 2.